Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajacharya Astasarasa Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajacharya Astasarasa Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Yantra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Janitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, entitled Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. Text number 3. Yasmin idam yataschedam yena damya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha para tam prapadye swayambhuvam yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Mataji's. Yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam enadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmaksha paras tam prapadye swayambhuvam. Word to word meaning. Yasmin, the basic platform on which idam, the universe rests. Yataha, the ingredients from which, cha, and idam, the cosmic manifestation is produced. Yena, by whom, idam, this cosmic manifestation is created and maintained. Yaha, he who, idam, this material world. Swayam is himself. Yaha, he who, asmat, from the effect, this material world. Parasmat, from the cause, cha, and paraha, transcendental or different. Tam, unto him. Prapadye, I surrender. Swayambhuvam, unto the Supreme Self-Sufficient. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Godhead is a supreme platform on which everything rests, the ingredients by which everything has been produced, and the person who has created and is the only cause of this cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, he is different from the cause and the result. I surrender unto him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is self-sufficient in everything. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but everything rests upon my energy, just as an earthen pot rests on the earth. The place where an earthen pot rests is also earth. Then again the earthen pot is manufactured by a potter, whose body is a product of earth. The potter's wheel with which the pot is made is an expansion of earth, and the ingredients from which the pots are made are also earth. As confirmed in the Shruti mantra, Yato va imani bhutani jayanti, yena jatani jivanti, yat parayanti, abhisham vishanti. The original cause of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and after being annihilated, everything enters into him. Prakritim yanti mamikam. Thus the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, or Lord Krishna, is the original cause of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the supreme prime cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita 5.1. The Lord is the cause for everything, but there is no cause for him. Sarva kalau idam brahma matsani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastitaha. Although he is everything, his personality is different from the cosmic manifestation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarjatam Samsajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saganar Akanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sudha Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpata Rubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebe Vaishnavya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmade Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamle Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunivadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Seeking the blessings of all assembled Vaishnavas. Speak from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, my own purification. So that's so this canto, chapter 2, 3 and 4 talks about Gajendra Moksha. Especially this chapter talks about Gajendra prayers. We are in Gajendra prayers, starting from this last verse. Gajendra's prayers of surrender. So from the previous chapter, Gajendra crisis, yeah? The elephant Gajendra's crisis. So Gajendra was the king of elephant. And he was going out with his family. It was a picnic, right? In modern term, you can call it as a date, right? Gajendra was going out. And so that natural tendency is when one person have a perfect position, perfect paraphernalia, right? Everyone is endeavoring for some kind of wealth or position or relationship, right? We want a perfect job. And Gajendra is an elephant, is like a perfect body, strong, strength. And he's not an ordinary person, he's the king of elephant. He's a king, so he's the topmost of whatever he is, right? So something which is dreamt by many people in this world. And he have a perfect family, he had wife, he has children. And then he can afford a perfect situation as well in his life. So he's gone to this Trikuta mountain, yeah? Which is a beautiful mountain. So usually we go to picnic or something, we look for a perfect place. So, and in the mountain, and then there is a valley which is surrounded by the mountain. And then in the valley, there is a beautiful lake. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, a beautiful lake which is celestial in terms of, so everything is perfectly coming, isn't it? A perfect person with perfect paraphernalia, perfect situation, perfect circumstances, everything. What is the intention of all this coming together is thinking, I will enjoy. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have a best time in this world. And so he was having good time in the water. So, but there is always a but. Yeah, but. Have you heard this? Yeah, everything, yeah, and then but. That's where we enter into the material world. If you put the material world in one word, it's called but. Isn't it? A perfect body, perfect situation, perfect job, perfect position, perfect power, everything, but. So in life of Gajendra, the but was a crocodile, which is none other than the king of crocodiles. So we are, even though a spiritual entity or the spirit soul, we are in the kingdom of Maya, right? We forgot that. We're trying to make arrangements, we're trying to acquire things, we're trying to become wealthy, we're trying to get a perfect relationship, we're trying to get everything, which is why we want to make this place enjoy, but the problem is, the big but in our life is, we are in the kingdom of Maya, which is going to catch us. I mean, it will. It is not, there is no question of, Devi eshu gunamai mama maya prapadyate. Maya metam taranti. What is it? Mama maya duratye. It's very difficult. Actually, it's impossible to overcome. You can't escape the jaws of crocodile of this material energy. It is going to catch you. So that's what happened. So everything crumbled. Whatever designation, whatever position, whatever that you have built up in this material world, that we have created this whole imaginary. It's like just like a child building a castle in the shores of the ocean of material existence, right? So this is not going to be last longing. It is going to crumble at one point in time. So this king of elephant, and he thought, and we also think, Atma Shainishu, that we take shelter of the relatives, the families, the wealth we have, the financial, whatever it is, everything will crumble because of this encounter. And same happened to Gajendra. That, and it's a fight, and it's a fight. It's not a, and we know when we take to Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada always says we are declaring a war against Maya. Everyone is going through a fight. Everyone is going through a journey. Everyone is fighting. It's a tug of war. So Gajendra is a king of elephant. His family members couldn't save him. He couldn't able to, overcome or defeat. And everything changes. The beautiful lake become is an arena, is like a war. No more beauty of the mountain or the valley is appealing. Right? He is in pain. He is in pain. So, if you see, we can also see a parallel in our life that we may be in a perfect situation or perfect position in this material world, or we are planning to get it because of everything comes. It's like a cascading effect. When we want something, then that leads to something else, right? We want a family, then we need paraphernalia. We need status, we need prestige, we need working, right? It goes on like that, so that we can enjoy. But then we come into this jaws. We feel it, the pain of material existence. We do actually. But the good part is Chaturvida Badante Mam Jana Sukritano Arjuna. That Sukriti, that is what actually interesting. When we are in a difficult situation, where are we going to seek shelter? That part comes from your Sukriti. Here, and then the background story comes into play, that Gajendra was a devotee. Yeah? It's not an ordinary. Otherwise, why would you pray to Krishna? Why would you offer? Generally in this world, if you see, when a person goes through distress, most of them take shelter of intoxicants or some other therapy, some materialistic way of approaching the problems of life. But one who is distressed, at the same time one who is Sukritana, one who has piety, not just ordinary, spiritual piety. We are all coming to Krishna consciousness not by chance. It's not just a blue, like when we get up and, we have a problem, okay, let's go to temple. Yes, people do. But then taking up to Krishna consciousness, taking to spirituality, something is there, some connection, some impression. So in even Prabhupada actually write a very interesting purport in the first verse, that all the devotees in Krishna consciousness practice chanting some mantra. Certainly one should chant the Hare Krishna mantra, which is the Maha mantra, great mantra, or also one should practice chanting Brahma Samhita, Narsimha's mantra. Why? Because every devotee should practice in order to chant some mantra perfectly, so that even though he may be imperfect in spiritual consciousness in this life, in his next life he will not forget Krishna consciousness, even if he becomes an animal. So Prabhupada is emphasizing that we should chant, because why it is Gajendra doing the stotra? It's Gajendra stotra. Stotra means the prayers. How could he be able to bring that? Because he is in deep pain and he could be able to remember some prayers. Interesting also, in Prabhupada writes in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, he said, if we can't able to remember Krishna in our little problems of our day, what is the guarantee at the time of death that we will be able to remember Krishna? So if we're not able to chant when we go through some teeny problems in our day-to-day life, not able to remember Krishna. Even, we can take great example from Gajendra. The fight was going for 1,000 years. One would say, why he waited for 1,000 years? We think, why Gajendra waited for 1,000 years? Immediately he would have chanted. No, he thought, I will fight. I am the king of elephant. And it's also pressure, right? Because all the family members are seeing. It's not just him, like in the corner or something. Everyone is watching how he is going to perform. We all see our relatives, our friends, our colleagues, everyone. How are you going to perform in this material world? Are you going to make a mark? Are you going to just like one of us or something? No, you are special. You have to, you have to be the CEO of the company. You have to be the best of the father. You have to be the best of the mother. So much pressure, So Gajendra was going through that, oh, I will fight. And then Prabhupada, in the previous chapter also brings out that one has to find his natural position to fight the material energy, especially in terms of varna and ashram. This is very important actually. Because finding one's natural position makes life easy. Because if you see, if not able to do the occupation which we don't like, our mind is always disturbed. Same with our ashram also. If we're not able to have that peaceful performance of Krishna consciousness in whatever ashram we are, then naturally the disturbance is on the mind. Then we cannot focus on higher things in life. When the mind is disturbed or agitated, when we are not able to balance out our day-to-day activities, then we cannot able to meditate on the higher goals or the higher taste of the spiritual life. So Prabhupada explained that one has to quickly find out his position in the material world, the varnashram basically. Even though varnashram is not a direct anga of bhakti, it's not a 64 items or it's not, but it's an indirect means, where we can able to perform our Krishna consciousness on a gradual, progressive way. Varnashram is designed in such a way such that a person gradually elevated in Krishna consciousness. So Gajendra was fighting and he couldn't able to find, then finally he's surrendering. So here the chapter is Gajendra's prayers of surrender. So that surrender came because of that piety. So how do we create our piety? Most of the time we don't have qualification, but we given an opportunity by the mercy of pure devotees. Actually, even Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita, he says, okay, 4 kinds of people come to me, isn't it? One who is distressed, one who is in need of wealth, one who is inquisitive, and one who is want to know, Jnani. Then Prabhupada puts in the purport example of Nityananda Prabhu. In the previous, the 4 kinds of people who doesn't surrender. Naradama, foolish, lowest of the mankind, the knowledge, one whose knowledge is being stolen by the illusion, or the atheistic personality, atheistic in nature. In that, Prabhupada gives the example of Nityananda Prabhu about delivering Jagai and Madai. So the Supreme Lord telling, okay, this person is not qualified, but the devotees goes beyond one step extra. He's saying, no, he'll also possible. This person, that person, doesn't matter. So he creates that sukriti. Most of the time the mercy, the causeless mercy of a devotee is mostly the starting point of our credit system in our spirituality. Then we have the desire to serve Krishna. Then we have, it's a cyclic. We do service, then we develop some taste, and then we develop some taste and we offer service. So, and it's continual process. So devotional service is eternal. A devotee is eternal. So even though one's going through a lot of position, but then there is a point where he surrenders. So here Gajendra surrendered because of Sukriti. So we have developed some Agyada Sukriti in our life, and then we are able to come to Krishna. Now, here interesting, here Gajendra is first paying obeisances. He's paying his respects. Here the example of earthen pot is given, which is interesting actually, if you really see. The whole cosmic manifestation or the material thing is material energy of Krishna. Krishna says, Bhumi Rapo Nalavayu Kammano Buddhi Revacha. The whole material existence, the ingredients, whatever we see, the primary ingredients is nothing but Krishna created. Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravatyate. He is everything, whatever manifestation you see, that is coming from Krishna. Then not only something which Krishna created, even at the time of annihilation, everything enters back into Krishna. So that's what here also he says that, you may create a pot from the earth. So once the pot is broken, it goes back into the earth, right? You create a clay earthen pot, and then if it's break, what will happen? It again becomes earth, right? So our body is created from the primary ingredients, right? And then once we die, we bury or we burn, it goes back into earth. It's become a cyclic thing. The Vedic presentation is always cyclic. Creation, maintenance, annihilation. Something is created, right? And then it is maintained, and then it's annihilated, it's going back. Again it's created. So creation and annihilation is Krishna's energy. And now Krishna is also the maintainer. Krishna is the maintainer, right? Here it says, the basic platform on which everything rests. So Krishna says, the example of the pearls which is strung with a thread, right, in Bhagavad Gita. When we see a beautiful necklace, yes, we get attracted to the pearl, but the thing which we don't see is the thread. So we see this beautiful creation, this planetary system, this whole cosmos, anything, like whatever we see, we get attracted, but then we don't see who is maintaining this, who is doing that. And it's more interesting, okay, so something is created, something is annihilated, something is maintained, and then Krishna says, not only that, the essence is also me. Whatever you see, the essence, what it makes that element very unique that part is also Krishna. So Krishna says, I am the taste in water. Now first of all, if you think, Krishna said in the water is me. I created the water. Nalo, right? Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu. I created the water. Right? So, but then we can't drink a salty water. We can't consume which is dirty water. We wanted a nice clean water. And that will quench our thirst. That taste, that essence of what it distinguishes that water from other rest of the salty or dirty water, that is also Krishna. Now why we need to know all this knowledge? Why we know that Krishna is the creator, Krishna is the main, Krishna is the annihilator, Krishna is the essence, Krishna is produced everything. This will help us to surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, why we want to, the greatness of a person, the more we know, it helps us to develop a relationship with that person. We wanted to identify that I know that person, right? We want to surrender. Here Gajendra is saying that you are the ingredients by which everything has been produced. The person who has created is the only cause of this cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, he is different from the cause and the result. I surrender unto him. The knowledge, the Supreme Personality helps in surrender. Then we can develop some kind of devotion to that personality. So everything, the ingredients, even the person, for example, okay, fine, the pot is coming from the earth, is made, the wheel, or the person itself. Krishna says in the previous verses, without the permission of the super soul, the soul cannot be active. Yeah. Krishna says there is a superior energy of mind, which is the living entity. Want to control over this inferior energy. So even that spirit soul who is thinking I am the doer is actually maintained or activated by the super soul. Otherwise, the whole material body cannot be animated. Krishna is the cause. So even in our day-to-day life, anything happens, we want to know who did it. Who is the cause? Right? Some problem, some issue, right? In our day-to-day, in our family or work or whatever. First question is it, who did it? What made this? How did that happen? We want to know the cause. So the answer is Krishna. Because he is the cause of all causes. So whether you want to know or not, this is the truth. So he is the absolute truth. Krishna is the absolute truth. It's not a relative truth. So Krishna, there is no truth beyond him. So Krishna says, I am the end. I am the cause of all causes. Why you are doing, what is happening in your life, what is happening day to day, it's because of me. Krishna is saying, I am the cause. He is the cause of all causes. But interesting is, he does not belong to that, he is separate. Krishna is expanded into expansion, Hamsa, manifestation, incarnation, so many to maintain this material world, right? But he is aloof from that. Exactly like, even though the lotus is coming out of the water, but the lotus is untouched by the water itself. So Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the source of all sources, but he is not like one of us. So he is like when we, a king entering into a jail or something. Krishna has manifested himself in this material world. Not is the same how we also enter the material world. It's a big difference. Krishna entered so that he could able to perform the activity so that we can get attracted to his pastime. So we can able to go back to Godhead. Even though he is a supreme enjoyer, Krishna actually come to rescue the living entity. Exactly like this situation where Gajendra was rescued by the Supreme Lord. So the Gajendra was struggling in the water where he is having a fight with a crocodile, and because of his surrender, because of his attitude, because of his previous credit, he could able to offer some prayers and the Lord rescued. Similarly, we also entered into this material world in the idea of enjoying for ourselves, and then we are in the jaws of crocodile of material energy, having a fight, and by some causeless mercy, we could able to offer some service to the Supreme Lord, the devotees, hoping that Krishna will rescue, Krishna will protect. Krishna says, devotee will not perish. O Arjuna, declare boldly that my devotees will not perish. So here Krishna personally, so in this example of Gajendra is quoted in other cantos also, in different places. Prabhupada writes, in one of the section which I was going through is the second canto in that, the list of incarnation. In that also, Brahma explains about Hare, the Vishnu, who came to rescue Gajendra. In that Prabhupada writes, even though the Lord is so far, he is in Goloka, according to Brahma Samhita, isn't it? He is there personally in the spiritual world. But just by the call of Gajendra, he swiftly came from there to here to rescue. So, so the Lord can perform all kind of activities. So Prabhupada gets, so when you offer, do you think the Lord will not eat the food? Can't see. He is everywhere. It's interesting also here, because here Gajendra is saying the Lord is the primary personality for creation of all the ingredients and everything. But at the same time, he is a person. So in the start of the prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate. So he is a person. And that person came. So even though the Lord is there, one cannot see. The Lord is there everywhere. So how can we access the Lord? Is only by devotion. Gajendra is there. He's saying everything, all these ingredients, everything, the Lord is present everywhere. Kalau idam. But he is not impersonalist. He is not an impersonal. He is a person. And by devotion, we can able to see. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochana, right? With the ointment of devotion, one can able to see the Lord. So with the offering of prayers, Gajendra, he could able to attract the Supreme Lord who came to rescue. He came to rescue. Sarva kalam idam brahma matsani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. Although he is everything, his personality different from the cosmic manifestation. So here, even though the Lord is everywhere, the Lord manifested all the ingredients, material, inferior, superior, everything, but he is a person. He is not an impersonal. And that one can see by devotion. So the offering of prayers of heartfelt by Gajendra, where the Lord came to rescue personally. So he got into the Garuda, he came personally and delivered both, liberated both, Gajendra and the crocodile. So one thing, similarly, for a practicing devotee, one can liberate oneself with the help of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Lord is personally present, and with the help of chanting, we can liberate ourselves. So because of our regular and chanting of the mantra for long, tendency is to become mechanical. But think about like this, that you have a mantra which is powerful enough to liberate yourself. So then it's a greatest benediction if you really thought about it. Because you have the mantra with you. Imagine if you don't have. So you can liberate yourself from this material existence by the Sankirtan Yajna, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, which can actually liberate you from this material, spiritual emancipation. Prabhupada writes, freedom. Everyone wants freedom, everyone wants liberation actually. So one mantra can liberate from all other problems, all problems of life. So here the Gajendra surrendered to the Supreme Lord, personally came and rescued. So ourselves, if we can able to surrender to the Sankirtan Yajna, to the Supreme Lord, we can also liberate ourselves from this material existence. I'll stop here and see if anyone has any questions, comments. Would you like to add something, Prabhu? Aniruddha Prabhu?
You mentioned that we meet the devotees because of our previous sukriti. Is that right?
We take up devotion. We take up devotion because of
our previous sukriti.
Previous security, yeah.
But surely there must be situations where there's no sukriti.
Yeah.
Especially if we look at the Dvipada Pashu. Right? Yet, and we see in Gajendra's case that he struggled for so long.
Yeah.
1,000 years.
1,000 years, yeah.
You nicely mentioned that point. And but isn't it that we all, well, perhaps you can clarify this, we all have a relationship with Krishna, or with the source of everything, Lord Vishnu, the Super Soul.
Yeah.
So it seems that sometimes a person is in a suffering situation and they pray to God even though they don't even know who God is. You know, get me out of here. Right? And then Krishna sends the devotees. Here I am, Haribol. Right?
Yeah.
And then a person realizes, oh, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So, is it potentially that also that there's a relationship with Krishna because he's integral to all of, we've come, or all of the forms are coming from Krishna, or our identity also is ultimately coming from Krishna, even though we have our own, you know, personality, we have our own individuality. It seems that Krishna reciprocates with that. Although it's interesting, you said, you quoted that, Goloka eva nivasati akilapma bhutto, that Krishna, but actually Krishna didn't come for Gajendra, right? It was Lord Vishnu who came. But of course, you know, ultimately, because he wanted something, right? He wanted, distress. He was distressed. And there's so many distressed people in the world.
Correct.
Right? So many. Yesterday I went for, I was wondering whether I should I'll tell you this story. Yesterday I went for a ride and on a path that I'd been on before, but I got a flat tyre.
Oh.
And couldn't pump it up. So I was stuck out in the bush with a flat tyre. And I knew I couldn't.
Oh.
But anyway, there was a guy on the path. He had stopped, and I rode past him before I stopped. And I said to him, "How's it going? You okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm all right." So anyway, a couple of kilometres down the road, and when I passed him, I was thinking, I was offering to help him, but I was thinking, what can I do anyway? Then I go, so anyway, he stopped to help me. He stopped to help me. And I eventually got the valve. It was a problem with the valve. I couldn't open it up. And I changed the valve from another for another tube that I had. But then I only had the CO2 canisters. I'd run out of CO2, so I couldn't pump the tyre up. So anyway, having made friends with this fella, he said, "Come up to my place." Yeah, so I went up to his place because he had a pump there. Of course, it didn't work. So then he said, "I'll drive you to the station." Right, so he really helped me out in many ways. But then in the meantime, I was just talking to him, and he asked me, you know, who I was and so I told him. And then he started telling me all of his problems. And it just made me realise how many people are suffering. In, you know, really, there is people who are, and all they need is an ear, right? A friend.
A friend, yeah.
He's Maltese, as it turns out. So, and I asked him, you know, are you a religious? Are you? And he's Maltese are Roman Catholic culture, right? Yeah. And so I just, you know, he was just, and I said at some point, you know, without getting into the detail, I said, sometimes you have to just cop your karma. He said, yeah, I thought about that. Anyway, I didn't tell him to chant Hare Krishna, but we swapped details, and I was just thinking, there's so many people, right? And he told me I go out on this bike track just to sort my head out, right? And so many people are really struggling, and we're able to give them, just like, you know, this example here of the earth and the earthen pot, and how the earthen pot goes back into the earth. But Prabhupada says the pottery machine, everything is coming from the earth. Right? Now, it's such a beautiful example. And so simply put, and so easy to understand, right? And we're walking around with all of this information, and there's so many people who are looking for that. We've just got to connect, right?
Exactly.
And anyway, it just made me think how people are suffering, and they pray to God, please help me. I remember I was like that. Then the devotees turned up, and they said, Hare Bol, chant Hare Krishna, Jeev Jago, wake up. Right. So it kind of underlines the need for us to get out, to chant Hare Krishna, to do book distribution, you know, to be there for people, because in many respects we're the Suridam, even though we don't necessarily think of ourselves as such, right? Or we shouldn't, you know. Then we get the Gajendra mode, you know, we start thinking, oh yeah, I'm pretty good, I'm perfect, blah, 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 right? I could save the planet, I could save the universe. And maybe you can, if Krishna so desires, right? But it just underlined for me how important and I was talking with Fennel, you know, the marketing, masters in marketing. So I was asking him, you know, how are we going to connect to the masses? We need to connect to the mass of people, right? And we were talking about music as a way to connect, and kirtan, and you know. But it occurred to me this morning that this kind of knowledge is actually essential for people, because it helps to explain, you know, like you were saying, what's the relationship? Helps to explain what's going on. And these prayers of Gajendra are so important for us, because he explains what's going on. Right? And Prabhupada explains what's going on. And really simple, you know, the earthen pot is not a complicated analogy or example, right? But super powerful. And that last point that you made, we connect with Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, you know, by surrendering ultimately. And he appears for us. Right? And we realize it because he appears in the form of the devotees. And even they may not be perfect devotees, right? If they give you the Maha Mantra, done. Done deal. Right? It's amazing when you think about it. So anyway, that's my...
Thank you.
Thanks for the nice class.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned earlier that by time we have the tendency that the chanting becomes mechanical. Okay. So is it still beneficiary for the devotee when it's mechanical chanting or not?
Chanting is saying that when we chant, after some time it becomes mechanical. So he's asking, is it still beneficial if you chant mechanically Hare Krishna? Chanting is always beneficial. That's simple answer, right? If it's beneficial, yes, it is beneficial. Anything to do with Krishna paraphernalia is always beneficial. There's nothing. Even Bhagavatam says if someone is making funny or laughing about chanting Hare Krishna, right? Even if someone is criticizing, or even if someone is making fun, oh, these are Hare Krishna chanting. You know, one time Prabhupada, there was a newspaper article, I think, they were submitting to Prabhupada, and they were saying, Prabhupada, look, this one, they're putting false allegations, right? So Prabhupada was going through, and he was seeing the newspaper, And then the devotees are saying, Prabhupada, they say this, they say this, that say that, we are not doing this, So Prabhupada actually counting, and he was happy because they mentioned 16 times Hare Krishna in the newspaper. So Prabhupada was saying, oh, this is so good. They mentioned Hare Krishna in the newspaper so many times. But then the devotees are looking at, in a way, that Prabhupada, they're putting false allegation, but Prabhupada is saying this is beneficial because they mentioned Hare Krishna. So, as a practicing devotee, everyone is going through the stage of Namaparad, Namabhas and Suddhanam. So by knowledge, by association, by faith, by hearing, by association of pure devotees, one will gradually move to the next stage. So it is beneficial, but then one has to make sure, that's why we're reading all these 10 offenses to the holy name before we chant. We just have to introspect, we have to put some time basically. We can do our chanting, finish our rounds and everything, but if you understand the depth or the seriousness or what we have, what we got by hearing, by knowledge, when we read Prabhupada books, somewhere we click, oh, this is not good, we have to change, so that's a good start. Then we slowly invest our time, we understand, okay, we take it chanting, let us do this nicely. So with knowledge, with association, which gradually, that's my understanding. That's,
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you want to ask?
Better if we chant with attention.
With attention, yeah.
Yeah, so, there's 6 items that are recommended to improve japa.
Yeah.
And one of them is mana samharanam. You've got to control the mind. Then the next one is saucham, cleanliness.
Okay.
Right. So in one sense, tamagun, ignorance, is a pollution, a contamination, right? And often inattentive chanting is basically a manifestation of avidya, right, which is a contamination, right? So we need to make sure that when we're chanting, we're actually awake.
Okay, yeah.
As part of saucham, not being contaminated, by that ignorance, and attentive. And what's another one? Nama chintaran, meditate on the meaning of the name. This is one of the 6 items that are. So mental control, monam.
Silence.
Yeah, no talking.
Not talking.
Right. So we often listen to the mind, right? Instead of hearing a mantra.
Yeah.
So, and that's why Bhujan Prabhu recommends just hear one mantra.
Yeah.
Right? Just hear one mantra.
Correct.
Because the first key that he takes from Ceto Darpana Marjanam is chant Hare Krishna.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But very often while we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're not chanting Hare Krishna because we're not listening to the mantra. We're listening to some... Yeah, right? Oh, that reminds me. Oh, I better write that down. Oh, got to do this, got to do that, got to do the other thing, so the mind takes over, right? Inattentiveness. So, what's the other one? There's another one. Escape me. I've got 4 there. There's 2 more items that when we add to the chanting and we maintain our alertness, then we're not inattentively chanting, which is, okay, chanting, any kind of chanting is good, but the better chanting is real chanting, which is actually hearing the mantra.
Yeah.
Right? which requires not sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, this is all theoretical, by the way. I read it in a book. But useful to try to apply.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
it. Should be-
You have a question or Mataji? Okay.
So much, Prabhu. Beautiful class. Yeah, as Aniruddha Prabhu said, yeah, chanting, any chanting is good. Like babies, we don't have standard for them. When they call mom or anything, anyhow their calling is good. But for devotees, every day we have to respect, we have to observe us, how not with other people, we have to see us. From today, if I'm improving tomorrow, that has to be there for devotees. For the ignorant people, they don't know anything about the Hare Krishna mantra. They say Hare Krishna, anyhow they benefit. But for us, yeah, it's good to observe and learn and improve every single day. Thank you so much. Hare.
Thank you. Stop here. Thank you, everyone. Kantra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.